Great to be back now with Tony Beadle, the Rockport Music President and CEO. And Tony, welcome back. It's been 4 months since last we talked. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, as always. Always
Oh,
glad to give you guys updates.
Absolutely. And I think with the sun coming out figuratively and metaphorically, we can talk about the future. But Tony, in our pregame warm-up here, I was mentioning that in talking with officials during this past year, I've just come to realize how hard hit the arts community has been. I didn't realize that. I think everybody knows the plight of restaurants. But tell me a little bit about the arts community, Tony, and maybe how Shell & Lou has managed to maybe tread water.
Sure. Well, think of it this way, that most of the time when you go to a concert or an opera or anything in a theater, or even if you go to a restaurant where a musician's playing, wherever you see live music, 99.9% of the time, those people are not employees. They are independent contractors. So it's what we know as the gig economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they of course were the first ones to have to be shut down when the pandemic started, because you couldn't have audiences. And once you couldn't have audiences, everything else just fell apart. So that's the first link of that. Then, it's like a domino effect. After that, the venues themselves, restaurants, of course, were already closed up. But if you were a concert hall like myself, or like Symphony Hall or the Cabot Theater, you have to stop too. You can't do anything. You can't even run a movie, as in the case of Cabot. So that stops everything. Then the next tree that falls is you have staff that have been running the production of concerts, the booking of concerts, fundraising to make up the deficit between ticket sales and the costs. Those people now have nothing to work for. So those people get laid off or furloughed or whatever you want to call it. And so it's a domino effect. And it has been devastating for the vast majority of arts organizations. For us, it's been devastating, but we were fortunate enough. We'd come off a fundraising campaign a couple of years ago, and we had the ability to sort of keep our head above water, not flourish, but in order to stay open, keep our staff employed, if only on a partial basis, with the devout hope that they'll return, which I think they will, and go on and to make plans for reopening, which is the hardest part of all, actually, because when you don't know when you can open, you have to sort of make a plan that can easily be adapted when the goalposts change. Moves, and it's been moving for a year here. And so we see now it's sort of slowing down. So the vaccination scenario has made people a lot more confident about returning. And so we're a little more confident that we will be able to open in possibly late summer, late July or August, or and then into the fall. But before I get into that a little more, I should also say another great thing that happened with all those people in the gig economies and independent operators like Shell & Lou Performance Center, is that there was an organization, kind of a fledgling organization, called National Independent Venue Association, NIVA for short. Well, as the towers kept toppling over, more and more people joined that organization, and that organization got itself to be a voice to Congress, and in so doing became part of the support team that helped to craft these shuttered venues operators grants, which is something that's it's going online, I think, April 1st. So, and that is to provide significant aid to the vast majority of venues across the land that have been shuttered and have had devastating results. I mean, I'm in a good position, and I think that a lot of places are, but not all. And they're the ones that are really suffering, and they don't have money to operate or to keep their lights on for another year. So this will be a significant help. So if there's one good thing that's come out of it, and many good things have come out of the pandemic, I think, ironically, and I'm not advocating for another pandemic for sure,
Okay, good. So,
but there have been good things because it gives you pause for thought about how you're operating and what you're doing, and for us, it is it's just that very thing. You know, we've had a chance to see what our depth of support is, which has been fantastic by our donors, and it also gave us a plan B for operating, which is probably your next question about what we've done this past year.
well, I think that that's all amazing, and it's how intricate, and as you say, how the dominoes have fallen. And I know that I applied a couple of times. I mean, we go to concerts at least once or twice a year up in Rockport, and it's just an amazing venue. We've talked about that many times, and people can see that. But I know that there was one target. It's a moving target. You're throwing it at a dartboard, and it was, you know, I had sent money in for a concert. I think it was scheduled for the last spring or the fall or whatever. That one got canceled. It was rescheduled for September, October. I sent my money in for that one, and that one got canceled. But that being said, the procedure that you guys have dealt with in refunding tickets and so on it's been seamless, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But also, it's nice to see that some of the artists, performing artists, they're listing the Shallon this coming year, you know, and it's starting like in September, October, November. Whoa, there it is. They're coming to Rockport again. So there is hope. Before we get to that, though, Tony, let's talk a little bit about what you have right now, because you're still offering programs.
We are. With great luck and foresight, 2 years ago, we installed a video camera system in our hall. And the reason we did that at the time was it was going to be an aid in online marketing. So you couldn't, you know, you can't just reproduce a print ad on the internet and expect it to do anything. You have to have footage of a live concert or the experiential footage of Rockport and the hall, et cetera, et cetera. So when the pandemic came, we had to figure out how we could utilize that equipment and that on a larger scale in order to have a presence on the internet. And so that meant streaming concerts. And the reason is it more than anything, it was to pay attention, to keep our devoted patrons and donors and others focused on the fact that we were still in existence. And that's sort of human behavior, you know, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So we didn't want that to happen. And luckily, because of our hall and especially the window, we had brand assets. So meaning that people always remember our hall because it has the big window looking out onto the ocean, and that's a good thing. And but you know, right after that, they remember it because of how it's intimate, good acoustics, and all that. But visually, it's stunning. And so that was a big help on the internet, and we started we called it Concert View series, and we began to talk to artists of all genres of their interest to come in and do a 45 or 50-minute concert by themselves to an empty house. We kept everything quarantined, so no staff, only the absolutely essential staff were there, and then everything was observed. So there was a high comfort level, and we started producing, and our staff, our director of marketing and our director of education became a video production company. So they learned and then got better as we went along. And now we've been doing them about every 2 or 3 weeks, and then we edit, we shoot them and then edit them, and then we put them on the web, and most are free, and we've had a few that we've charged, mostly with a deal around the artist and that sort of thing. We're testing the waters for that, and they've been very successful too. And amazingly, after we were doing that, Celtic Sojourn came to us and wanted to utilize our hall for their Christmas Celtic Sojourn. Now they come every year for 2 shows on one day, and then they play in I think 4 or 5 other theaters around New England. And so they came to Rockport for 10 days and produced their show here, and then videoed it, and then it went out sort of customized to each of their venues and everything. And that was a spectacular success for them and for us as well. So, and part of that I attribute to our brand and our loyalty of our patrons to our brand, because we had as high a number of people buying tickets, according to what Brian O'Donovan said, than the big theaters did. So we have a very enthusiastic, musical, appreciative crowd. So that took off. We ran our gala last June online, virtually that way, and we'll continue that way until we can open live. And when we open live, what we're thinking about is after a live concert, we would video it and then have it available after the fact if people want to see it again, or if they want to see it for the first time.
That's
so we'll see. Those are intricate deals with musicians, you might think, because they, we don't have any history, of course, of trying to take advantage of the artists, but they have to make sure that they're comfortable with that being out there, and every deal is different too, depending on who it is and what the circumstances are.
Well, I think that the technology is tremendous, and the fact that you guys have woven that in now to your businesses, it's only going to pay more dividends off in the future, I'm sure.
Well, it already is in other ways. I'll tell you that once the Concert View series started, and we've had folk singers, we've had local groups, we have string quartets, pianists, jazz, all kinds of things, and what that has done is it's caught the notice of other musicians who want to come in and record or video their own shows there, mostly on a one-off basis, and that's been a big boom. And I think the most notable of all those people was Yo-Yo Ma. So Yo-Yo Ma came for a day and recorded like 4 or 5 songs with around his latest CD that he was releasing during the pandemic, called Songs of Hope, I believe. And so that was fun. That was fun to have him back. And he was there I think there were about 20 people there with, they were doing a video, and it was Sony recording. So, everything's amped up, and it came out beautifully, of course. So we're pleased with that. And even prior to that, we had been contacted by a movie company, and up in Cape Ann, there are always movies being made, they're around in Gloucester or, Beverly and what have you. In Rockport's been in any number of movies over the years, but this is a movie that was called Coda, and it's about a young woman who I think her parents are deaf, but she's a musician, and there are scenes where she's auditioning for Berklee College, and so our hall became Berklee College for a couple of days when the movie moved in and shot some scenes on the stage. They had to close the window, with the shutters, because there's not such a view in Boston unless you're going to be at the edge of the harbor. So the nice news about that is it was a runaway hit at the Sundance Movie Film Festival earlier, late in the summer, and now it is. I guess it's going to be on Apple TV, and it made the press because it was the highest amount ever paid by Apple for showing a movie. So people will see it. The insiders will know it's Shalimlu Performance Center when they see it.
Oh, I will now, and I read the review. The reviews were fantastic. Plus, you kind of are like Berkeley North with all the people you have from Berkeley. So it kind of works. It makes sense. Tony, one of the things that you mentioned, you got famous classical performers, you got famous pop performers, but you also have kids come in. You take care of the local community. You serve the local community. So it's a tremendous venue, and I think that once we get back live, it'll be great to see the complete variety that you offer in your programs.
Yeah, it's the tragedy is that. Double tragedy. The schools, of course, were closed and everything became online learning. And as far as music in the schools, it was even more devastating because the kids can't congregate and perform in ensembles and then perform either at the school or, as we love to do, we give up our hall and stage for any of their concerts that they want to come in for. And in fact, I just bumped into somebody on the beach walking my dog yesterday and said that they were so grateful that that we did this because it was the only thing that kept their kid motivated to continue to study the cello. So that was a heartening to hear that. And we sort of had to reverse our strategy, obviously. And once the schools figured out, this is Rockport and Gloucester, what they could offer from us virtually in the just as topsy-turvy world of education over Zoom all day, we started producing content for them as well. So we're bringing in for the school concerts that we've done where people come to the hall, whatever, we've had some of those. And for the schools where the artists teach the kids or present something to the kids and everything. So we're really a big video production company right now.
Well, it means
live though.
I know it means everything to youngsters when they can go up on a stage or when they can see one of their favorite musicians help out and things like that. It's just
it's really, what these parents told me yesterday. I was just, I said, well, is your kid gonna follow music? And they said, no, he'll probably drop out after high school, but that's okay. That's all right. But he's really loved it and he has an appreciation of music, and that's all we ask for.
Yeah,
we're about creating listeners. So
exactly. Well, it's so much more than that. It's again, for anybody who doesn't know, it's the Chalet is nestled right on a main street in Rockport. There are restaurants there, and it's just it's the most beautiful place. It really is. It's very intimate. What's the seating capacity, Tony?
330.
Okay,
seats.
so there you go. Very and the acoustics are incredible. It's just a beautiful place. Now that said, optimism is kind of really bubbling to the surface right now. And what are you feeling? I know that that nothing is written in stone right now, but are there plans to sort of start getting the gears moving again?
Yeah, I would. So right now, our most optimistic scenario has us starting in second or third week of July. So we have some artists booked, classical.
Yeah.
And what the scenario is, what we're planning for is that it will be, since there will be probably socially distanced seating with 6 feet in every direction. So unless you're with your tribe, and this may be moot in another month, who knows, or it could get worse. But anyway, so when you do that with our hall, you get about 100 seats. So what we've worked out with the artists is not to come in and do a full-length concert, but to do two 1-hour concerts. Gotcha. So if you think of it, if you're going to follow all the quarantining, socially distancing things, we have what we'll have is very it's like the stores, they only let in 5 at a time. That's what we'll do. We'll be doing that prior to the concert, and then everybody will be separated. But we'll have singles, doubles, and triples, 1, 2, and 3 seats, scattered about. So if you come with your friend or you're with 3 people, we can accommodate you. And then the concert will be 1 hour, so there's no intermission. And then we'll take a break, do a light wipe down clean of the hall, and then get ready for the second showing the same way. So that way we can get up to 200, maybe a little bit more total. And the artists are so happy that we've come up with this idea that they can actually get a quasi good fee, because we still might be able to make more under different circumstances with a regular concert, and thus they get a larger fee. But this is better than nothing.
Yeah.
So that scenario is, now if it comes up that 2 weeks before they're coming here, that something happens and we can't do any concerts at all again, we would flip their appearance to a video production and show it that way.
Mhm.
And these concerts this summer will also be available after the fact if they go live at first. So it's very complicated.
Yeah, and very creative, and I'm guessing, you know, you're not headed for retirement anytime soon at this pace. You got you got
Well,
to
I'm
keep
still
doing
having
it.
fun. In spite of it
Yeah.
all, I'm still having fun.
Yes. Oh no, I believe it. I think the as I said, the creative juices of running the business, marketing, and then also you know, getting the performance on stage or wherever it is, getting people in. That has to be motivating for you. You got to feel good with the stuff that's happened so far.
I'm very grateful to my team at work who have just been, you know, nonstop trying to make this happen, and being on, you know, limited hours and time.
Right.
So I couldn't have done it without them, that's for sure. I mean, I can, you know, I can lead the pack, but the pack is they're really the creative solution team. Trust me.
Spoken like Bill Belichick. There you go. It's up to the team, but yeah, you got to have the guy up front. This is fascinating, Tony, and I hope we can do it again in a relatively short term. But I know that you know, things change and you're busy. But as soon as this thing opens up, I can't wait to get in there in person and do another video, you know, live and stuff.
It's wherever you want it. It's on my schedule immediately, Rick.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. In the meantime, stay safe. I'm going to hold this off. I'm going to stop the recording here, and I'll talk to you in a second.
All right.